Hey there, Contractor Kev here with Overseas Contractor Academy, coming to you still from between two ferns. Today we're going to talk about the politics of being a contractor. Now, what do I mean by that? It's when you become a contractor, it's not like a normal job with a normal boss and you are just sort of reporting to the one person. Then you've got to make your boss happy, and that's the simplicity of life. It just doesn't work like that as a contractor. And so we're going to get into how that works, why it is, and basically how to successfully navigate that landscape. So, all right, let's dive in. Okay, so the very first thing to know about being an overseas contractor is you're going to be doing what we often refer to as wearing multiple hats. And what do we mean by that? You've got three people you've got to please as a contractor. So the first is your company and your direct boss. But outside of that, you have the military, which is going to be your military customers, as you'll often hear it referred to when you go overseas. Is, how are we dealing with the customer? Is the customer happy with what we're doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then what they mean by that is the military happy? And then thirdly, you have a branch of the government called DCMA, which stands for the Defense Contract Management Association. So, and what they are is sort of the auditors of that world. And they're going around making sure that money is being spent correctly. That was basically one of my first jobs over there, was working with DCMA and helping them analyze that. But is money being spent on what it's supposed to be spent on? And how is the execution of the contract going logistically? And are safety protocols being followed? Are the goals being met? Is progress being made? That's all DCMA. And so basically you can almost think of them as the inspectors that could really ruin your day, even probably way worse than even your own boss or the military, quite honestly. Now, most DCMA people are pretty cool, but you will occasionally come across one that just give people power sometimes, and they can go a little off track with it. So I've known all kinds. I would say the vast majority of DCMA people I've worked with were very cool, very smart, very professional people, and they just wanted to see the right things done. And so now these days, to help them have eyes and ears everywhere, DCMA designates what's called a corps, which is a contracting officer's representative. And so what these corps are is they will be in each sort of specialized function and field. And so you might have a corps for the dining facility, you might have a corps for security, you might have a corps for logistics. And what these guys will be an actual military person that's designated to assist DCMA. And they're going to come around to your areas, and if your boss is smart and he says, hey, the corps is coming around, and what he means by that is DCMA is about to come around and kind of look around and make sure you're doing stuff the right way. So a lot of people, they just don't know this when they go on, first go on a base overseas and they get on their first job. So I'm trying to tell you this now so you don't have to learn the hard lesson, because quite honestly, if you get into a big conflict with a DCMA person because you don't know who the hell this is coming in your area trying to tell you what's what and how to do this or that, you will be going home real quick. You don't want a conflict with DCMA. Why is that? Because your company headquarter people, not even just your boss or even the biggest guy on the ground over there, I'm talking about like the company back in the US, usually in Washington, but different people have corporate headquarters elsewhere, but most of the time it's going to be in DC. The bosses in DC, they don't want to hear any static at all from DCMA that they're not conducting the contract in the way that they are supposed to. So those are the three people, and the emphasis, your emphasis absolutely needs to be on figuring out that last one. So you got your own boss, obviously you got to make him happy. So that's one hat. You've got the military customer. So whoever you're interacting with on your job that's military, that's your second customer. That's your second sort of hat that you're wearing. And then the third is when DCMA comes around and they want to talk to you about your job, how you're doing certain things, what are the protocols and processes and procedures, all those kinds of things. And so that's your third hat that you're going to wear. Okay, so basically you've got the three hats you're wearing, you've got the three people you've got to please. So what do you think is the obvious outcome of three different bosses? You know, obviously it's going to be that, you know, everyone's going to have their own agenda and there's going to be power struggles sometimes. So the military will think that a certain thing needs to be done this way. Your company's going to think that same thing, like, oh, let's do it this way, it's more efficient. And then DCMA is going to come and they're going to be holding the rule book and they're going to be going like, no, it has to be done like this by the contract. So there will be conflicts between those three entities. Now, if you are really lucky, you're isolated from one of the two of those. So either you're so low on the totem pole that you just don't ever see any DCMA people, which, hey, congratulations if you do. There is actual power and anonymity sometimes over there. Just do your job, keep your head down, make that contractor money, and you know, deuces when you're ready. But you know, or maybe the job that you do is somewhat insulated from the military and then you're just mostly around other contractors, and that's entirely possible as well. But by and large, most people are going to have all three. You're going to have your company, you're going to have the military, and you're going to have the DCMA guys. And you know, it's just going to get political. There is no other way to put that. It is definitely a bit contentious at times. And so you've got to navigate that landscape and figure out the way through it all. And usually, you know, if I can drop any hints here, the first thing is going to be communication. You've got to be able to communicate, start with your boss and say, look, you're saying this, the military is saying this, or DCMA is saying this. You've got to make your boss aware that there's a conflict of direction. And you ask that person, okay, go to your boss and give me clear direction. I need clear direction. You know, if you could tattoo those words somewhere so you remember them when you get in that situation, because it will happen, believe me. Again, this is, you know, talk about expensive knowledge. You know, how do you learn from these things? Because you make big mistakes and piss people off. So the thing to ask for is clear guidance or clear direction, and say, hey boss, the military is saying this, you're saying this. Can you speak with them and clarify how I'm supposed to do this? And so that's your number one defense against you being, because here's the thing, you're going to be the low guy on the totem pole, and guess which way crap flows? Downhill. So you're going to be the one caught out if you don't work to, you know, if you change it and you just do it the way the military says, your boss is going to come back and be like, hey, what the hell? I didn't tell you to do it that way. Or it's the same way if you do it with the way DCMA says, then some military customer comes in, oh, why are you doing it that way? It's not like the DCMA and the military and your boss all sit down and like, okay, let's make sure we give, you know, contractor Kev some clear direction. Like, no, they're all doing their own things and they're all going to tell you different things. And so the first and best defense against this, and this is hard-won, expensive knowledge here, go to your boss and say, I'm getting conflicting instructions. I need clear directions. Here's what you're saying, here's what they're saying, here's what they're saying. So that's the first way to keep in fact, the only way, the best way to keep yourself out of trouble is to do that. You want clear, concise direction. Okay, and the other big hint that I want to give you in this video is the other way to survive in that sort of pull and tug of war of power there is never choose a side, okay? Or I guess maybe even better put is choose to be on your side. Like, so basically, whose side are you on? My side, okay? I'm just here to do what I'm here to do. I'm here to change my future. I'm here to change my life, and I'm here to, you know, build my finances so I can go off and either open a business or go to school or buy a house. Whatever you're going to do with that big stack of money you're going to make from working overseas, that's the side you're on, okay? So, you know, you may be buddies with some military guy that, has something to do with your job, or you might even be cool with the DCMA person. Doesn't matter who your friends are. Don't take a side, ever, okay? Because it's almost always going to end bad for you. I'm just being as blunt as I can about that. You're going to piss off people. It's just going to happen. And the best defense against it is to let your boss know, hey, there's some conflicts in my direction here. Please work it out. Give me clear direction. But don't choose the boss's side against DCMA, because it could end up that both y'all are wrong and then you're both out on your butt. So you want to work with your boss, get clear direction, but always remember you've got to be playing a little bit of defense. Be on your own side. You got to be your own best advocate. And so when the DCMA person comes around and says, well, why are you doing it this way? You can't just throw your boss under the bus and be like, well, that butthole told me to do it like this. Just be very mindful of how you refer to people, address people, speak with people. And, communication is such a big deal over there. And that's what's going to keep you in place until you hit your goals. And then you can throw up the deuces, be like, yo, I'm out, going to Thailand for the next 6 months and just drink on the beach. That was my plan. So, yours might be different. You might have a little wisdom in your plan, a little better than that. But that was my first plan when I went over there. But that you just got to communicate, and you got to make sure that you're your own best advocate. You're on your own side, and don't choose sides out there. Choose your own side. So that's about the best advice I can give you about the politics of being a contractor. Okay, so that's going to be it. Wrapping up another week for Between Two Ferns. It is basically the big thing. I would say the takeaway here is that you will be put in political situations occasionally over there. It's not just as simple as getting up, going to work, doing your job, collecting your big paycheck, and going home when you want. There's going to be some navigating and some working things out. And when that happens, that's the best advice I can give you. That's the best expensive knowledge I can give you is, number one, work through your boss to get clarification from all parties on give me clear direction. And number two, don't choose your boss's side. Don't choose your company's side, because if DCMA or the military wants you gone, the company's going to get rid of you. They're not going to be on your side. So, and by the same token, you could even have a really good high-level contact in DCMA that wants you in your position. But if the military and your company hate you, you're going to be gone. So don't choose a side. Just basically try to stay apolitical and just remember what your goals were for going there. So that's the best advice I can give you. And we'll see you again next week with another great video. And hopefully by then I will be back in Colombia. All right. So until then, roll up your sleeves, get your ass to work, go check out the website, get the knowledge, and go overseas and make some of that overseas contractor money.